You can't keep getting away with it! He can't keep getting away with it! He won't.
Now, not to get too political or anything, but every JoJo game is basically the same nowadays. With the very few exceptions of A Bizarre Day, Your Bizarre Adventure, and maybe Stand Upright, every JoJo game after those three follow the exact same formula. Join the game, use a couple of arrows and rokas, get a good stand that you want, and that's it. That's the entire game. Now, this formula sure as hell worked. I mean, look at all those players. But this constant never-ending cycle of using an arrow, using a roka, getting a good stand, blah 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 blah, gets boring eventually. You can only milk a certain type of genre for so long. And after hundreds of the exact same JoJo game being produced, I finally had my breaking point when Stan's Awakening was released. For some reason, people in my Discord server and people on YouTube hyped this game up quite a bit. And I mean, the players show for it. I mean, just yesterday it had around like 8,000 to 9,000 players. And you want to know the catch? It's literally a Bizarre Day modded. Now, the people who haven't been in the community for a while, a Bizarre Day modded is basically a modded version of the popular JoJo game A Bizarre Day, even though it's not really that popular anymore. And it was once one of the most popular JoJo games on the entire platform, even bigger than Your Bizarre Adventure. But as A Bizarre Day started to die, so did A Bizarre Day modded. And around that time when A Bizarre Day and A Bizarre Day modded started to die off, that's when a bunch of copies came around to take its place. Now, there was copies before A Bizarre Day and A Bizarre Day modded died, but once those two games died, a bunch of copies came to take its place, or try to take its place. Now, obviously, the people who worked on A Bizarre Day modded didn't want the game to die, so they began to remake the game and turn it into a new game called Stan's Awakening. But the word new is thrown around very loosely, because Stan's Awakening is just A Bizarre Day modded with a new map. That's it. And I'm not the only YouTuber to call this out. My friend Devin also called this out on his channel.
Stan's Awakening is one of those games that is just flat out bad, like genuinely really bad. It's basically just another copy and paste JoJo game, but it's even worse than that because it's just ABD modded, but with new models and maps, and that's literally it. They couldn't even put in the effort to make new movesets and script new things for this dance. It has taken them.
Now, I'm not mad that A Bizarre Day modded turned into Stan's Awakening. I'm mad because there's barely any changes at all from A Bizarre Day modded to Stan's Awakening. Like, barely any at all. And this instance is exactly what I've been trying to say for the longest time. That all new JoJo games that are going to come out or that are in the process of coming out are in a never-ending cycle. A cycle that no JoJo game may ever take a step out of it, because why fix what's not broken? The never-ending cycle I've been talking about is a statement I've been saying for the longest time. There's no set definition because I just made it up in my mind, but here is what I loosely mean when I say the never-ending cycle of JoJo games. The process in which new JoJo games follow to gain money and fame quick and easy. This process consists of copying A Bizarre Day's mechanics and more. So basically copying A Bizarre Day. Every JoJo game that comes out nowadays is just a copy of A Bizarre Day. Whether it be gameplay mechanics, stand design, or even the title. Like, you even have to copy the title. Now, I'm not saying that any of these games are bad in any way. I just want to make that clear. A lot of the games that follow this never-ending cycle actually have a lot of love and care put into them. Not gonna lie, I actually put hours into a lot of these A Bizarre Day copies. For example, A Universal Time. A Universal Time is easily one of the most popular JoJo games on the entire platform. Even though it's closed because they're working on a game rework, it's still very popular. And that very game, as many of you may not know, actually started as an A Bizarre Day copy. Another example is An Extraordinary Day. Me and my friends spent hours and hours in Extraordinary Day. And I kid you not, at one point in time, an Extraordinary Day was actually more popular than a Bizarre Day. Even though an Extraordinary Day was literally an exact copy of a Bizarre Day. It had the same model, it had the same mechanics, and it even almost had the same title. But this game was still super fun. But there's one huge difference between these two games I just named and the rest of the A Bizarre Day copies. These two games were before the Neverending Cycle. After A Bizarre Day died, it kind of signified a new era. An era where all JoJo games will follow the never-ending cycle. And during this period of time, it looked like all JoJo games were probably going to be dead forever. If you were playing during this time, around A Bizarre Day dying and around the new uprise of these JoJo games, it seemed like every game in the genre was slowly dying. Even games that didn't even copy off A Bizarre Day was also dying, like Stand Upright. However, there has been one game that slowly carried the JoJo genre on its back and all the way up to the top again. Out of the absolute mess of the copies and copies, there has been one game that single-handedly carried the genre to the popularity it's at now. And that game is Your Bizarre Adventure. Standing right now, Your Bizarre Adventure is easily one of the most popular JoJo games we have ever seen. From the player count to the views on YouTube, this game has just been skyrocketing. And in my opinion, this game rose JoJo Roblox games to the popularity it once was. And the thing is, it's not even following the cycle. It's still doing its own thing back when A Bizarre Day was still popular. So although we do have a new popular JoJo game that is somewhat of a copy of A Bizarre Day, it's not really the end of JoJo games because we still do have a Your Bizarre Adventure, easily one of the best games. And since I want to leave this video on a positive note, I just want to put it out there that Stan's Awakening or A Bizarre Day Modded can make a comeback. And when I say make a comeback, I don't mean by its player counts because it's clearly pretty popular right now. What I mean is respect for the community. So before I end this video, I just want to say I do not hate or I'm not trying to really diss A Bizarre Day Modded or Stan's Awakening. This video was really only to showcase the never-ending cycle I've been talking about. And any games I mentioned in this video that you think was in a negative viewpoint, it really wasn't. Every game here, even if it is a copy, I still respect in some way.